future lies in a digital reality and a digital space that's going to be significant. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not, it's the future. Right now, granted, if somebody pulls the plug, you still got to have some freaking bullets. You still got to have some food and the whole thing. But the reality is, the way that we're moving is very much a digital space, yes? So here's what I wanted to do, because he's got to jump on a plane here in a little bit. Do we have Travis? Where's Travis? I brought in my partners on our NFT deal. I asked Dan to stay and do a panel for us, because what I want to share with you guys and talk about, hey, welcome to the stage, Travis, everybody. Here's Travis. Travis Bott. And then Mr. Greg Anderson is over here. And this is Greg Anderson. You guys know Greg. Come have a seat. What I want to do is the following. I have a couple things that I want these guys to talk about, and then I want to open up. We're going to put some microphones down here. Questions. So listen to what I'm saying. You have an opportunity right here, right now. Travis is our partner in the NFT. Greg and I are partners on the Lions Not Sheep NFT. It's Travis's company that basically orchestrated everything. How many of you went to our website and saw how badass it was? It was fucking epic. Badass. He did that. Built the entire back end, the entire system. I mean, we're partners on, I don't even know how many companies. Everbowl, Cars and Coffee, the entire deal. We're partners on the NFT project, Lions Not Sheep, a whole bunch of other stuff. I wanted to give you guys this panel to ask anything you want about Web 3.0, NFTs, cryptocurrency, the future, how to take your brick and mortar business and utilize the future, how to take your digital business and utilize the future. You understand this? It's coming whether you like it or not. Would you rather be on the front side of it and the leading edge of it, or be light years behind it? Does this make sense? Does this sound fun? So if you have questions, we're gonna have a limited amount of questions that we can take, but guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. I know that you're flying out to see Priscilla, right? Here in a little bit. So, a couple things that I wanted to touch on really fast. The NFT space. How many of you understand the NFT space, know the NFT space, want to know the NFT space better? Okay? And you guys, your opinions on this. Like, I think the future of the NFT space revolves around utilities. And the more utilities that you can provide, the more connection you can have with people. Gary Vaynerchuk, you guys, if you follow him, you understand his NFT. Utility basically means that there's something connected to it, right? You guys have seen some of the digital images and the pictures where they're just like, they're digital PDFs that you get. Utility means, what do you get with it? Does this make sense? So what are your guys' opinions on NFT, the future of NFT, where it's going, number one, and number two, how can someone who's new into the space, not into the space, wanting to get into the space, get into the space?
Well, learning is the most important part. Studying. DJ Ski just put out 2 weeks ago, it's called the metaversehandbook.com. It's like $10, $20. Metaverse Handbook is really good to learn about the metaverse and NFTs. Anything Gary Vee's writing about, it's called 1:37 p.m. 1:37 p.m., it's all free. And he has really good tutorials and breakdowns, but learning is the most important part to see what you like. The art part is important, right? The lions look amazing, so it's fun to buy the art because you love the brand, I love the brand, I wear it with or without Sean in the room, I wear it all the time. That part's important. So you have to like what you're buying from the art perspective, just like you would buy art for your wall or for your office. But then the utility part is why I used the example of Gary Vee and why Sean's is gonna do so well. With Gary Vee, for example, when I bought the gifting goats, I talked about the goats. The reason the goats went up so much is that he started shipping out the presents. He started shipping out the gifts. People were getting shoes and bottles of whiskey, access to things, and so people started buying it, and that's why the price went up, because there's very limited amounts, and it's a supply and demand thing. In the NFT space, a lot of people make the same thing. They just make a whole bunch of supply, no matter how much demand they have, and then there has to be demand after the fact. And so a guy like Gary Vee or Sean Whalen, after the fact, are gonna create a lot of demand because their brands are gonna keep growing and growing and growing, which is what causes the supply, which is small, causes that part to go up in price because a lot more people want to buy something and the supply stays finite, stays the same amount. It actually stays less than finite. What that means is, let's say if there's 188, for example, of an NFT, like Meta Bounty Hunters. Less than finite means none of you can buy mine, right? I have 18 of them, they're not for sale. Friends of mine have 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, 30, etc. They're not for sale because they believe in the business, the brand, and the fact that it's paying out every single week. It's paying out what's called a reflection, which Travis can explain way better than I can. And so there's not 8,888 available out there because mine aren't for sale, my friends aren't for sale, you can't buy them. So the supply is actually smaller, but as the brand keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, the demand grows. So more people want to buy Gary V's NFT than, and there's 10,400 of them, you can't buy it unless you pay more and pay more and pay more. And that's why you see prices go up. Now, the other thing I'll say before I wrap up, for Gary V's in that example, you cannot go to VCon, which he just did at the Minnesota Stadium. You cannot go to VCon without having his NFT. So for 3 years, you just can't go. What does that do? The basic ones are like 10K, 20K, 30K, just because people want to go for 3 years to his event. And then he over-delivered and had a great event in a stadium with Snoop Dogg and Pharrell and all these fun people. And so now the price is going to go up and even more because people want to go. They have FOMO for year 2 and year 3. The same concept applies here. Sean is going to over-deliver because the money part is irrelevant to him. That's what you're looking for in brands, and that's what I believe the utility part is so critical.
Sure. Can somebody in the back bring me a water? My voice is like a 50-50 shot at best.
He sounds like Batman right now.
At the end of the day, I think it's also everything Dan said, absolutely. And I would add to that understanding the underlying technology. Has anybody here ever bought a stolen car?
No, so seriously, anybody? For real. Hey, we got an honest guy.
I actually have.
Did you know it was stolen in front? Never mind.
I actually have. So I bought a car, and then like 5 weeks later, I got pulled over, and then I got handcuffed, and the cop wasn't that nice of a cop, wouldn't listen to me, say that I just bought it 5 weeks ago, but the car had been reported stolen. I hadn't gone in and registered or whatever. I was a little late on that, but I bought a stolen car. So if you think about that as it applies to an NFT, right? If all car sales were registered on a blockchain, and I went in and entered whoever the guy was, clearly wasn't his car, selling that car to me, I could have seen immediately that it wasn't his car because he would have had to enter private keys to validate the transaction. Anybody here bought a house? How big of a giant pain in the ass is it to close on a house? Like, you got to go see people that stamp shit, that do whatever. You got to pay like the dude that looks at the paper and then the one that looks at the guy's sign on the paper. It's ridiculous. If all houses were on blockchain, I could sell Dan my house in 30 seconds. Completely secure, completely validated, and it would immediately transfer the ownership. So when you look at crypto and you look at NFTs and you think about the underlying function of the technology, right? Anybody in here think that the government doesn't want blockchain as their currency? You're all wrong. Absolutely they do. Because they want to be able to track every transaction you make, and they want the $1 trillion in taxes that they're missing out on every time you ladies go to the nail salon, the hair. That's why your hair girl will only let you pay her in cash. When they have a digital dollar, hair girls are going to be sad because all those transactions will be immediately tracked and immediately taxed. So it's no longer a question of whether or not these technologies are innovative and disruptive. They're going to do things we both love and hate in the world. But as it applies to what we're doing like Sean, it's a great way to architect community. It's a great way to validate community because when you really look at the genius of what Gary Vee did, when you really understand the genius of what Sean's doing, if anybody in here, what year did you start Lions Not Sheep?
2016.
I should have known that, I'm an asshole. But 2016. If anybody here would have been with Sean at dinner and Sean said, hey, give me $20, $20,000, invest in this brand with me. If you could go back in time and be there, how many would invest in Sean's brand? Do you guys think Sean has a big vision for Lions Not Sheep and where it's going? So let me tell you a little secret. The NFT that you have the opportunity to buy is investing in Sean's brand. Now, to any three-letter agency listening, we don't mean that specifically, but we mean it in the fact that if you look at Gary Vee's NFTs, it's what Dan was saying. As Gary Vee grows his brand, his presence, his following, what grows with it? Demand. Demand drives what? Price. So with Sean, I know he wants a jet and some cool stuff. For him to have that, the value of this brand has to go up. If the value of the brand goes up, demand, what happens to the value of the NFTs? They go up because there's going to be more people wanting to go to the racetrack with Sean. There's going to be more people wanting to go get those different utilities that come with the NFTs. So really, when you look at it, it's Sean's commitment. It's his reputation. Do you think Sean's going to sell out on his reputation?
Hell no.
No, not a chance. He's committed to this for the future. That's the conversation we had when we sat down. I said, how long are you committed to doing this? It was a long time. So with that commitment comes your opportunity to buy into something that has utility and value that ties back to the brand that will grow in value with the brand. That's why I say everyone in this room has the opportunity to invest in Lions Not Sheep, because if you own something that has documented value and utility that ties to the brand, as the brand grows, that's going to grow.
So something really cool that I love about this space is we're not creating anything new. No idea that we've had up here is new. It's
the lion artwork was...
okay. The lion artwork, that it is.
Was new. That was good shit.
It was our heart and soul. We spent a long time on that, picking the right different characteristics. We could probably print, what do you think, 40, 50, 60, 100,000 of them with all the characteristics that we have?
About 2 million.
About 2 million, and we're not. But that's how much work put into this. But what's really cool is the ideas behind the business models, the functionalities, even utilities. Let's say today you went to your neighborhood country club that everybody wants to go to, and you can't buy your membership into the club because everybody else already loves it. But they didn't buy the membership to the country club just because they had access to golf. They did it for the dinners. They did it for the community. They did it for the different accesses. And as that golf club continues to grow, so does the prices, because less people want to sell and more people want to buy. So as you start to go through here, when we say Web3 or NFT, it kind of gets glossy really fast. It's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Truthfully, all we're doing is taking different terminologies from past times, taking like analog money, turning it digital, taking country clubs, turning it into the Lions Not Sheep NFT or community. All of this is about bringing this, but we're doing it faster and we're doing it globally, like instant. We have more people from different countries that are part of this tribe right now that couldn't be because of this. Now they're hearing the message, now they're connecting with you guys. Now they're looking at it saying, what is this Lions Not Sheep? It's bigger than just a t-shirt company, it's bigger than just this. And it allows us to just globally reach really, really quick and replicate that process.
Dan said something I want to touch on, because we can talk about Lions Not Sheep all day long, and I love it, and it's great, and we will, and it's fantastic. But what does this mean for you? Like, if you could go back 20 years, you'd all give me 20 bucks, because now you know. The reality is, like, right here, right now, on June 10th, what does this mean for you? Because God willing, we all have another 10 years. Does this make sense? Our mindset is very much like, oh man, if you could go back and invest in Twitter, would you? Sure, fuck man, I wish I'd have gotten in on the whitelist of the Lions Not Sheep NFT. Great. We spend so much time looking at what could have been and whatever. Some of us have been talking about woulda, coulda, shoulda for 10 fucking years. Yeah? Man, I should have done the deal. I would have done the deal. I could have done the deal. Okay, stop. If you live another fucking 10 years, what's the brand that you're going to invest in today? What brand, more importantly, will you start today? You guys are seeing, this is the culmination of literally 8 years of me investing my time, energy, and effort into sharing my story. Do you understand this? Like, this is the culmination, the gear, the apparel. 2016, I started sharing on social media before that. And so you have two choices. Oh man, he already did it. He already capitalized on the space. No, bullshit. Bullshit. What flag will you plant today and build and invest and pour your heart, blood, sweat, and tears into so that 10 years from now, we're talking about your space that you built. Does this make sense? Like, how many of you understand what I'm talking about? The reality is, if all of us live 10 years, another 10 years, we could sit on this same stage and go, what the fuck did you do for the last 10 years? And every single one of you in here has the same opportunity, whether you're knitting quilts, whether you're doing hair, whether you're selling t-shirts, whether you're building fucking apps, whether you're building NFTs, whether you make custom shoes, whether you freaking sculpt paint, like pottery, it doesn't matter. What will you spend the time building? Because that brand starts literally right here, right now. How many of you have a brand? Literally less than half of you. I want you to think this through for 2 seconds. Like, what's your brand? What flag will you plant that will be an investable opportunity in the next 5 years? What will you push that we can invest in, that we can participate in, that the marketplace can invest in? Would you agree that every single person in here has the same possibility to create over the next 10 years if they did the work, Dan?
Of course.
I mean, if we could go back, we can talk about that all day long. We could talk about it all fucking day long. And I strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you guys to understand that building this brand, literally, I just use social media the same way I've been sharing with you. His book is literally the exact blueprint. It was really funny when I read your book, because everything that you share in your book is what I've been doing for the last 8 years. We kind of joked about it. The blueprint is there. Do you understand this? I don't give a damn if you're a hunter. I don't care if you're a good old boy living in the backwoods. It doesn't matter. A brand is a brand, and there are 8 billion people on this planet, 7 and change, that are your market demographic. There's people inside of that, and it doesn't take a whole hell of a lot of people to make a lot of money. So with that said, let's talk future. Web 3.0, the future. All these 1,000 people walking out the door tonight with the possibility of building your own brand, of literally minting your own NFT, having your own digital space. What do?
So things are going to get easier and easier and easier as we walk out this door. The easier part is the technology. OpenSea and MetaMask and all these core companies, they didn't exist a few years ago. Last year, if I would have spoke here at the event, I did speak at the event, but if I would have said if I would have said NFT last year, you couldn't spell it. Nobody, right? No, nobody would have thought about it. And so technology now, it compounds. There's a lot of smart people with a lot of money and a lot of time and energy in a very interesting space. And so you're going to see, as you walk out those doors, the technology is going to get easier and easier and easier and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So now, people can, there's literally children. I know 7 and 8-year-olds that have done $1 million in sales with an NFT project. Like, that's not a fake story.
It's insane.
I know multiple of them, not a one-off, multiple of them. I had a kid that was like 12. He did $4.5 million in sales. He's 12. Mommy didn't help him, by the way. He did it. He did it. So I say that because if you become a brand, or you build a brand, or you align with the brand. By the way, as Sean was saying that, some of you might not want to create a brand. You want to be a housewife with 4 kids and you love that? That's amazing. Have a great life doing that. You could co-do it with someone else. Maybe you just want to be an accountant for the rest of your life. Fantastic. And you don't want to build a brand. Totally get it. You can align with someone else that is the brand. You could help them with the accounting side. You can still own 5 or 10% of that business. So just think about for yourself, if you're not going to be the one to do it, because not all of you are, who is the person that you believe in, that you can buy a little piece of, or co-help them with something, whether it's advising, be the person that's the creative, be the one that's doing the accounting or the legal, whatever that thing is that you're really good at, whatever your skill set is. But I believe that most people should and could create brands really easily, and they make it really overwhelming. They make it overwhelming because they think that they have to post content 10 times a day, they got to make all this fancy video content. You guys carry the nicest cameras in the world in your pocket. You have an iPhone or a Samsung in your pocket right now, it is the nicest camera in history. Your camera in your phone versus any camera in 2018 would be night and day. Your camera on your phone would win every single time. So that's one. You don't have to go buy a camera because you already did. Time-wise, you're already a real estate agent. You're already a fitness trainer. You're already a makeup artist, a hairstylist, an accountant, a lawyer. Whatever it is that you already do, you're just pulling your phone out sometimes. And you don't need a fancy videographer to do that. Sylvia and Jennifer and Robert can film you at the office. Then you're like, it's boring. Who cares about quilting or accounting? It's boring to you because you live it. I couldn't quilt a sweater to save my life. So if I want to watch your content, and so do 17,000 other people, you can build a brand really easy. And that applies to every single category. Doesn't matter if you have a bowling alley, a mortuary, doesn't matter whatever that thing is, there are conventions and conferences for everything. There are social media accounts for everything. There are niche accounts for everything. So just literally go look up the hashtags and accounts for what you do. Accounting, bowling, you like tennis or pickleball or whatever damn sport, you can build a small personal brand there, and a small personal brand in a niche category can do extremely, extremely well.
I think I might have said this once or twice for like the last 6 years, right? I mean, this is not, look, he's making millions and millions and millions of dollars in the space. He's written a book about the space. I mean, he's a master in the space. He works with, you spend $60 million a year on social media advertising and influencer advertising and stuff like that. Hangs out with freaking Dan Bilzerian, plays poker with him.
Okay, let's go, Travis, go. It's fine.
What? But I mean, I'm sharing this with you guys because I'm serious. Like that concept, if you wrap your head around it, I don't mean to steal your thunder. I'm giving you a chance to take a breath. I got a mic. You guys can't, yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. Understand this. If we're all around the next 10 years, I'm going to stop and look at you and be like, what'd you do? What'd you do today on June 10th, 2022? Because you're going to walk out here and you're going to go, well, I'm a day late and a dollar short. You're fucking wrong. You are dead ass wrong. It's going to get easier. It's going to get faster. It's going to get quicker to be able to ramp up to what I've spent 8 years building. Yep. There are literally kids on YouTube reviewing toys making $40 million a year. Am I wrong?
Absolutely, I pay them.
There's fucking 10-year-old kids making millions of dollars reviewing toys, and you're like, man, my life just is boring and nobody gives a shit about what I do. You're out of your fucking minds. You've got to start. Take the cell phone out of your pocket. Start building your brand. You like to hunt? There's a lot of fucking hunters out there. Do you understand this? In 10 years, we're going to look back. God willing, you're all still here, and I'm going to be like, what'd you do? What brands? What brands popped out of this room right here? What brands literally popped out of the June 10th, 2022 Lions Den Live when you had a bunch of really smart fucking guys, notice I just pointed this way, on the freaking panel talking about the future, and in 10 years, you're going to go, shit, I didn't know that was me. Like, wait, but I'm boring. Guys, it's a level playing field right now. Would you agree?
You did it in 6.
What?
You just gave them 10 years. You did it in 6.
Travis?
Yeah, I mean, and as this grows and develops, if you're not somebody who likes to interact and talk with people, they're like, you cook, you paint, like there's so many applications for how you can build audience. And then the NFT piece comes along to monetizing and establishing the community in Web3. And like Web3, like close your eyes and what can you think of? I was with Ryan Bowen earlier and he gave me some like Delta 9 gummies so I can think a little bit more creatively right now than I could previously. But I didn't need them. Roger has them in his backpack.
Ryan, I need some of those before you leave, buddy.
Like,
I really want to try them.
So Meta Bounty Hunter's an example. Sean's gonna have the same. We're gonna have the, think of this, by this time next year, when we do the Free Man World Fair, we will have an exact replica of it built in the metaverse. People anywhere in the world can attend. They'll be able to see a holographic version of Sean in there, giving the same speeches he's giving here. We'll have, like for Meta Bounty Hunters, we'll launch it in like 3 weeks on NFT World. Your kids can play it on Minecraft. We have paintball stadiums. Don't let your kids come to our casino. I don't want anyone mad that we took your money. But we have a casino, paintball stadiums, speed racer courses. All this stuff's being, like, think of anything you could think of, and you can create it in the metaverse. Like a modeling show where the models walk upside down, like whatever it is, right? That's what's cool about Web3. It's both good and bad. But right now, you have the possibility of taking part in one of the biggest shifts in technology that will ever be in our lifetime. And it's this idea that we can reconceptualize the world we live in digitally, which gives access. So like one of the projects I'm most excited about that we'll all participate in this year with Meta Labs, we'll be doing the world's biggest giving tree, and we'll do more giving for the holiday season. We'll set the Guinness Book of World Record for it, and we'll be able to do it anywhere in the world because somebody will be able to go in the metaverse, buy an ornament off a tree. That ornament will represent a family in need. When that NFT is purchased, that family will be able to go buy Christmas. It doesn't matter if they're in Thailand. It doesn't matter if they're in Africa. It doesn't matter if they're in India. And that's the cool part of Web3. And when you start realizing that and how big and impactful it can be, I think on your guys' NFT, we have people already from 18 or 22, I don't remember the exact number, so don't quote me, countries that have bought into Sean's NFT already. Like the ability to touch and impact and create this global space is what's so powerful about Web3.
So ask yourself this question, this is an internal question, right? What's the difference between you and then, the 10-year-old that made $1 million minting an NFT? Truthfully, what's the difference between you guys? Taking action? Mindset? Awesome. Any others?
So a 10-year-old's got a better mindset than a Think that through for 2 seconds.
It's a possibility. It's a
Yeah.
audacity.
Perhaps less fear. Perhaps the 10-year-old's like, I don't give a fuck. They don't know failure. You're sitting here as a grown-ass adult going, oh, boo-hoo-hoo, I've lost money in the past, and everybody's going to make fun of me because I make some, I don't mean to interrupt,
Hey.
you're my lion fucking creature, and everybody's going to say it's stupid looking and whatever. That little kid's like, fuck it, I don't give a shit. I got a whole bunch of little kids who'll buy my shit. Bing, they're rich. So, real talk.
It
so
is.
that's the truth, and what do we do as grown-ass adults? Get rid of that bullshit. More imagination and less program. Go ahead,
They do not believe they cannot do it, and you do.
Write that shit down. Say it again, Greg.
They do not believe that they cannot do it, and you do. When you log on.
Can you text me that later?
Yeah, for sure.
Amen.
I'll tattoo it on you if you want. In this space, you open up your MetaMask wallet, you open up OpenSea, you come to our website, and we're like, hey, you need to go to Discord and communicate this way because that's the world has done it. And all of a sudden, your brain is fried. And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. This is too hard. I'm going to stop. But then the little kid is just hungry for knowledge. Just says, hey, how do I explore this? Can I communicate this? Can I mint this? Can I do this? Can I do this? Never once is it, oh my God, this is hard. I can't do this. It's not inside the realm of information I know, because for the most of us, we've been taught to stop that creative mojo or mentality or that hunger for knowledge. We're just told, no. My high school guidance counselor told me I would make a really great construction worker. But not just a construction worker, a laborer. They're like, that's all. Don't worry about college. Don't worry about doing these other things. It's not for you. And in that moment, they created something. It's a subconscious programming. They created a thought process in me for many years where I didn't believe I could do anything else until I removed it and thought more like a little kid. I was just like, why the hell can't I do it? Why the hell can't we launch an NFT? Why the hell can't we launch a new software company? Why can't we? We can do it all at the same time because we believe we can.
When these guys started talking NFT lines on Shiba NFT, I was like, I don't know fuck all about it. I was like, I know enough. I know what it is. I know what they are. I told Greg, I'm not interested in spending $1 million on it. I'm not interested in, I have way too much going on to do it, right? And so Travis said, hey, I have the tools, I have the resources, I have the system. And we created a synergistic relationship. I think that through for 2 seconds. A 10-year-old will figure out how to get it done. They'll just figure out how to get it done, and they will. And what do? We quit. We stop. And that's the reason 10-year-olds are making millions of dollars, and some of us aren't. That's literally where we're at, guys. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but I mean, if you're wanting to grow and you're wanting to play this game, understand that it's a level playing field right now. It's who's going to do it, who's going to jump in and do it. And literally last year, we weren't even talking NFTs. Last Lions in the Line, it wasn't even on the radar. We weren't even contemplating it. And we just launched what will be a fairly significant NFT project globally, like the global NFT space. The Lions Not Sheep NFT will be a major viable player. It's already being talked about all across the freaking boards by a lot of different people. And when we sell out, we haven't even gone public yet. We haven't even gone to the public yet. And we've sold 1,300, almost 1,300 NFTs, which Travis has done multiple NFT projects. He's like, that doesn't happen. I mean, the night that we launched, he texted me, he's like, bro, like this is bananas. And I'm like, is that good bananas, bad bananas? I don't know the bananas. Like, what kind of bananas are we talking? He's like, this is big shit. And I'm like, what the fuck do I know about the NFT space? Not very much. But what I do know is how to connect with the right people.
We believe in you.
And there's people that believe in you. There's people that believe in you. And so long as you get out there and you share your story, tell your truth, how many times y'all need to fucking hear it? There will be people that will want to shit on your dreams. And there will be people that want to pay you for your dreams, pay you for your guidance, pay for access to you. You just don't believe it yet because you haven't done it. So fuck everybody and go do it. There's a ton of people that don't like our NFT. They're like, you guys are fucking idiots. I don't give a shit. There's more people that like us that don't. There's more people that like you than don't. What are you waiting for? Does this make sense? Okay. Final thoughts, and then let's open it up for questions. Anybody in here have any questions? Good. Final thoughts. Final thoughts. Anything you want to add? Anything you want to talk about?
Take away all those fears by just starting. You pull out your phone, you make content about the things that you like, whether it's your career, your passion, your hobby. Doesn't matter what that thing is. And as you do it, you get more and more comfortable. And it doesn't matter if there's 12 people watching, 1,200, 12,000, it's irrelevant. It compounds. And then there's that thing that happens where you make that one basketball video or the one makeup video or the one cooking video or the one work-related video, and it just goes viral. I was talking to a guy this morning. He makes really boring content. Really boring.
Talk about me.
And right now, he has 753 million views. When I say boring, I mean like paint drying would be more exciting. And I don't care if he sees this, I've told him this. 753 million views. You know what the video's about? Accounting. He made a video talking about taxes. So if you don't think you can make a video when this guy's talking about taxes, and he's done, by the way, 50, 100, 200 videos over and over and over and over that were boring, and he made one that's still boring, by the way. I don't know why this one went viral. This is my life, and I still have no idea why it's viral. But the point is, he just kept doing it over and over and over, and so it's for you, it's the same concept. You're just making content about the things that you already do. I'm not asking you to change your schedule or go buy a fancy camera. It's just pulling out a camera when you're doing things that are interesting to people.
All right, I got 3 final thoughts. Can I have 3?
Sure.
Okay.
Can you talk that long?
Yeah. Number 1, Greg and Sean have given all of you guys a huge opportunity because, as Sean talked about, we purposely planned the public mint, or when we really start pushing Lions Not Sheep out to the world, we purposely planned that after this event because they wanted to give an opportunity for all of you to hear about it, understand it, be able to buy it, because at some point in the next few weeks, it will sell out. Like, I can promise you that. It will sell out. And whether it's to the people that are already a part of Lions Not Sheep or it's to entirely new audience all over the world, the project's gonna sell out, but it was important to them that you guys got this opportunity. Number 2, a part of the project is reflections. Okay? Anybody here know what a reflection means? If you do, it's only because somebody told you, because I made that word up. So,
He's gonna blow your mind right now.
in our community or in our agency, we decided to call a reflection of the contribution back to the community, right? So when you look in the mirror, you see a reflection. So when we launched Meta Bounty Hunters, we were like, okay, the number 1 most important thing for us is how we're gonna allocate the money coming in. I just, like 3 months earlier, sold a company. We sold it for a few pennies. It wasn't about the money for me. I didn't need the money to go do something. So our commitment, their commitment for their community is the same, that the majority of the money being brought in through the sale of the art would be used to reciprocate a contribution back to the holders. So a reflection. Now do we understand what the word means? So reflections are going to be a part of the Lions Not Sheep. Just to give you an idea, with Meta Bounty Hunters, we started paying out reflections 9 weeks ago. In 9 weeks, we've airdropped almost $5 million. Almost $5 million back to the holders of the NFTs. 5 million. Thank you. Maybe you own one.
He's like, I got some of that shit.
So when you see the value, it's not like you got to think about that. Nobody wants to come hang out with me on a racetrack because I'm a shitty race car driver. Sean's adding all of this extra utility, all of this extra value, all of these extra commitments on top of the reflections. I can guarantee you 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks from now, when you see the people who bought one of the Lions Not Sheep NFTs and you hear about the reflections, you'll be like, fuck, I should have bought one of those. Exactly what we hear in Meta Bounty Hunters. We sold out. Our mint price was 0.65 ETH. The Meta Bounty Hunters now worth 2 ETH, so we've more than doubled people's money just if they wanted to go sell it. And on top of that, we paid out $5 million back to the community in 8 weeks, by the way. So if they bought a Meta Bounty Hunter in 8 weeks, they've already made back 1/5 of the money they spent buying it, and we're not going anywhere. So the value that these guys have put into this is substantial. We're not here trying to convince you. We really don't give a shit if you buy one or not. We're gonna sell it out either way. That's what we do. But if you wanna be a part of building this brand, you wanna be able to know that you own a part of the value proposition of this brand, I can tell you that NFTs are the right place. And now I'll give you something you can write down. We're gonna talk about 2 words. One, learned. Learned means you already learned something in the past, right? 2, the learner. Learner means you're acquiring new knowledge. When I look at Web3, I think of a quote. I don't know who said it. We'll say it was me. It's a pretty smart one. So the learner will inherit the earth, right? People who continue learning, while the learned find themselves beautifully prepared for a world that no longer exists. Some of you are on the stage looking at us like, Web3, you assholes, you don't know what you're talking about. It's nonsense. I promise at some point you'll be the learned. You'll think you're so cool, you'll be beautifully prepared, and you'll be like, shit, I missed it. So take the time, like Dan said, become a learner of this space. Dan talked about kids. My daughters play to earn games. I only let them play to earn metaverse games when they want to play. Why? Because they get paid. They can help pay for their school clothes. They can help pay for their stuff. This idea of play to learn, play to earn, all the things that are going to happen in Web3 are going to completely disrupt our world. And you'll either be the learned or the learner.
So, some things that Travis had said, which were epic, was one reason why Sean and I were talking about, the possibility of NFT, and he probably had, 50 people slide into your messages, hey, Sean, you should do a Lions Not Sheep NFT. I called Travis one day and said, hey, I know you have Meta Bounty Hunters coming up in a couple of months. Is there anything you need? And he just said, hey, come to my office. And he drew this Picasso of a business plan on top of this whiteboard. And it blew my mind because I'm a super analytical person. I get it. And it was tough to get what he had. So I asked him, are there a lot of people in your office that know what you just told me? And he's like, nah, I do. And so after this conversation, I was like, cool. Well, number one, how can I support you in Meta Bounty Hunter? So I bought some. And then the second one was, how do we replicate this again? I went back into the office with Sean. I started drawing some things out on the board. And his mind was just more opened because everybody else that had wanted to do something, they just wanted to sell something. They just want to sell a widget. They just wanted to sell a piece of art. They just wanted to, and in this scenario, we looked at the best of what Gary Vee had done. We looked at the best of what Meta Bounty Hunters have done, and other pieces, and said, well, why can't we just do them all? And even if, we're not out there screaming to the heavens about reflections, and because that's a super valuable piece, but we also think there's much more value in everything else. That it was an opportunity to just build something for everyone, where everyone won, not just the person that sold. And that was lights out important for us, and one of the reasons why we throttled through, even when things got difficult, even when the crypto spaces started to drop, even when people are saying this is a horrible time to launch something, we didn't really care. We just pushed through it.
Yeah. Really quick, so Tyne, say what's up to everybody. This is Tyne. This is my son Tyne. He loves Call of Duty. He plays Call of Duty. And Tyne will stream Call of Duty, and people get on his stream and watch him play Call of Duty. Okay? There are people in his space that have millions, I'm saying that correctly, millions of people that will tune in and watch someone play a video game. You understand this is happening, right? Yeah. Like, you might not like it. It doesn't matter if you like it. It's real. It's what's happening. There are 8-year-olds making millions of dollars reviewing toys. That comes because there is a consumer for it. There are people that watch him stream while he plays a video game. Some of you might not get that. You might be like, that's dumb, that's terrible, that's why kids are shooting up schools, whatever you want to fucking say. The reality is, like, whether you like this game or not, whether you understand it or not, or whether you think it's going to go away, this is the future, period. This is the future. And so I want to be on the leading edge of it. I want to put my name and my brand on the leading edge of it. I want to learn from as many smart people as I can to be able to be in front of it, okay? I've got 5 kids. I want to be able to set my kids up and be well ahead of where anybody else is. How many of you want to take care of your kids? I'm not talking about spoiling your kids. I ain't giving them fucking jack all. I want to die spending all my money, and they all know that. But while I'm here, I want to empower them to build their own empires. They're watching me build an empire. They're involved in everything that I do. All of them got gifted NFTs. Why? Not because I needed to, not because I wanted to, I could have just handed them $700. I wanted them to see it. They're downloading the wallets and whatever the fuck all the stuff's called. I don't even know what it's all called, but they're helping me do it. And they're watching and seeing the process and learning the process. My son's 12 years old. How many of you want to understand and realize that your kids are going in this direction? They're moving in this direction whether you like it or not. So I want to dictate that. I want to make sure that we stay on the front edge of that and that they know shit that I don't know. You understand this? We as parents have an opportunity right now to get really freaking smart and bring our kids along in that future too. My kids are creative. They're creative. I would love to see them do their own thing. And it might be that one little tweak. It might be that one nugget you pick up this weekend that changes the course of your business, that changes the course of your life. It might be one little interaction with my kids where he's like, Dad, I could do that. Dad, what if I do this? Dad, what if I do that? Next thing you know, my kid's getting paid millions of dollars because he has millions of followers and millions of people watching him play video games. You understand this game? Guys, it is the future. It is coming whether we like it or not. I like to be on the leading edge of things. And this is the reason that the Lions Not Sheep NFT, I will tell you this is the first Lions Not Sheep NFT. And the reason that I say the first is because I have a very creative mind that is always thinking about things that are bigger and huger, and they're like, yo, pump the brakes. Let's sell this one out first before you go to, and I'm like, no, listen, we can do, and talk about drawing on the whiteboards, right? Like, I'm playing the long game with this. I'm playing the long game with this, and I'm ensuring that my family is not left behind. My family's not just like scratching their head going, what the hell just happened? That my family's involved in this game. Make sense? Okay, you guys down for some questions? Yeah. Who's got questions? If you have a question, we have mics. Ladies, will you bring the mics up here, right in the middle in the aisle? If you have a question, walk right up here. Come here, girls, ladies, right in the middle. Right, they've got mics right here. Walk right over here to the mic if you have them. Like if you've got another question, form a line right behind them. Please, this will be super efficient for us.
All right, my question's for Dan. So in terms of the 40-40-20, and with the emphasis that we're giving on NFTs as an investment, where would you categorize that for everybody here?
Yeah, so NFTs and cryptocurrency are considered the highest risk possible that have the biggest upside. So when I talk about Gary V's, I paid $17,000, but I sold it for $91,000, $130,000, et cetera. There are plenty of NFTs you pay $17,000 for that could go to $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. You reduce your risk by betting on brands or people that you believe in. So if you believe that Sean Whalen will exist in 5 years as a personal brand, then that's a good bet. Do you believe that he has a large social media following? That's a good bet. Do you believe that other people are going to buy into him over the course of time? That's a good bet. And so NFT space is an extremely high-risk category. But when you hear that 90% of NFTs are going to fail, that's correct. 90% of pizza shops fail too. 90% of every business fails in every category, from computers, tech, and everything in between. So marketing-wise, the media likes to say, oh, 95%, 90% of NFTs are going to fail. They are finally right about something. Except everything fails. That's not the point. The things that succeed is the guy with the pizza shop that has 4 pizza shops, and that's what he lives and breathes, or someone like him that's going to live and breathe their brand morning, noon, and night.
Thanks.
Thanks for the opportunity. So we've heard the analogy used that the people that really made the money in the gold rush were the people selling the shovels and the pickaxes to the people looking for gold. So if people in the audience that aren't artists or don't know how to write code, how do we prepare ourselves with it to be able to sell the shovels and the picks in the Web 3.0 movement?
I'm a terrible artist. I don't know shit about writing code. But our agency's a picks and shovels company. So at the end of the day, what I would say is get in the space and start learning about it. There's a million different places that you can enter. There's a million different ways that you can participate. You don't have to be a programmer. You don't have to understand how to write the same code that Satoshi Nakamoto wrote. You don't have to be a good artist. You don't, like, we went and hired a good artist. But I understand the space, and I understand how to apply it and create value. And so this space is so big. Like right now we're writing, I'm not writing because I don't code, but I whiteboard it up. I do really good whiteboards. And then our team translates those into actual something that can make sense. But like we're building the first ever trust, like a trust you would have for your kids that's all smart contract driven that will all be on the blockchain. Like, I don't care if you're in accounting, I don't care if you're an attorney, I don't care if you're, like, it applies. That's the thing, it applies. If you're a chef, it applies. If you're, what do you do for a living?
I manage large mega projects.
Large what?
Mega projects, construction, airports, power plants.
Yeah, it will apply. All the resources that you use, if you could scan those on a blockchain and they were instantly accounted for, your life would be way easier, way less reports. So all I would say is everyone should learn about this space. It feels intimidating because it's so big, but when you get into it, you're gonna gravitate towards that thing that applies, that you can add value, create value in.
Let me throw one thing on there. That analogy was used by people that already created the gold industry, and then everybody came in second as that wave. We're nowhere close to that. So it doesn't even matter right now, because we're on the tip of that first guy in the pan in California that was like, wow, there's a gold nugget here. So there's still a lot of space in that.
Dude, it's so new. It's so freaking new, guys. Like, would you go back and get in on the internet? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's where we are. That's literally where we are.
Cool, thanks for that, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, so my question is, if you could go back and give your 20-year-old self advice, like the most valuable piece of advice, what would that be?
Sign contracts with everyone, including your mom. And when I say it, it's not because you're going to sue your mom or sue your friend. It's that what I said earlier about relationships break up over communication, that applies to staff, business partners, husband and wives, friends, etc. It's that I think you're going to do this, and you think I'm going to do that, and neither of us know that because we just never said it out loud. And so if you think, hey, I'm going to clean my room for the next 5 days in a row, and my mom's going to give me $100 on Friday. And she was thinking, wow, hope she cleans her room once this week, and I'm going to give her 20 bucks. Neither of you knew that, and on Friday when that rolls around and you ask for 100 bucks, and she's like, I was only planning on giving you 20, that argument only happened because you had no communication on Monday. Does that make sense? And so by having that contract with your mom or contract with your friend, etc., it's saying, I'm going to print you 100 t-shirts by Wednesday, and if I do that, you're going to pay me 1,500 bucks. Having that clarity is way better than me just making t-shirts and I show up on Wednesday and he's like, whoa, I thought it was going to be 600 bucks, or I thought you were going to come 2 weeks from now. I'm not even ready for that. Like, the communication part is the most important part. And so by having what's called a scope of work, an SOW, a scope of work, that's the contract I'm talking about. Not something you're going to sue somebody over. It's saying, I'm going to do this, you're going to do that, and if we both do these things, you'll save yourselves a lot of headache later.
Travis?
Hear from you guys too.
It's hard to follow contracts, but my 20-year-old self.
Or just you're younger, because obviously not everyone here is young. Just
My
if you're gonna
20-year-old
start.
self was way better looking than this one, so I'm going to go back to that one. I would say to my 20-year-old self is find great mentors. Is your mom and dad in the room?
Are they what?
Are they here?
No.
Okay.
No.
I would say find great mentors, and I would say find somebody to help you deprogram your mind of all the bullshit that your mom and dad have put on you that make you limit your beliefs.
That's so true, though. Very, very true.
That make you limit your beliefs, that make you limit your dreams, that make you doubt yourself. I wish I would have found that earlier in life. I wish I would have had somebody who pointed, and I don't know if that's a therapist or whatever path you find that helps you get to that point, or just attend Sean's event because he says that over and over again, so that's going to help. But I would say, one, make that a priority to deprogram your mind from all the limiting beliefs and bullshit that's been put on you. You're so young, you have so much opportunity. And then two, remove the fear of living life. It doesn't matter if you fail. I'm a very successful businessman. I've failed way more times than I've ever succeeded. But I've also succeeded enough times to be a multimillionaire. And I don't regret the failures. So fix that part in your mind and then just go live life.
Amen.
So the same thing I would tell my 20-year-old self is the same thing I'm going to tell my 7-year-old self and that I tell my 40-year-old self right now. It's okay that you don't know what you're doing.
Amen. I would say the same thing Travis said.
Okay, and I want to say something really quick. So I'm in real estate. So if you'll all pull out your phones really quick and follow me on
Hey, whoa.
Instagram.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Put the mic down. No, none of that crap. No. We're not pitching. No. You're good. You asked your question. Thank you.
Hi, Greg. Thank you for making that last statement because I have no idea what I'm doing with the NFT. So my question is, if we miss the 48-hour launch for the LNS, because I got partially way through and then I didn't know how to get a code. I didn't know what whitelisting was because I didn't watch all your videos, so my bad. Can we still buy in before it goes public? And how many are there?
There's still plenty. How many? 16,000 still. There's still 16,000. All the whitelist stuff, all the extra little doodads you had to do before, doesn't exist anymore. Okay. You're just going to log in, connect your MetaMask wallet, say, this is how many I want to buy, click the button, and it's done. Super fast, super easy. We made all the whitelisters jump through additional hoops because they were going to get discounts, and that helped us build the community. It's super important to have a baseline of people having conversations, and so that's why we did that and then gave out those discounts. So it'll be much easier on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know what the heck I'm doing with NFTs either. I am a tattoo artist in Provo. I own a tattoo shop. And I have built an incredible brand for myself. I'm booked out the rest of the year. When I open my books, I book out in a matter of a couple of days for 6 months. So I've got a really great brand for myself. So I have had the itch to get into NFTs and start launching NFTs. My main question is, me as the NFT creator, if I create an NFT, say I launched, is it 100 designs? Is it 500 designs at, say, $300? How am I profiting a mass amount of money? Is it I launch a little bit, I get the demand, they start buying it, then I launch a little bit more of that same design, and then the demand builds off of that, or is it new designs as I am creating that? Does that make sense?
Can I say something to that really quick? When you say make a mass amount of money, like the idea is profit or longevity. I will make way more money in the long NFT game than I will off of our first launch.
Right.
So my game plan with this first launch is I'm not making buy a small country money off of this deal.
Right.
I would love to.
He's making zero.
I would literally, I'm being totally serious. I'm playing the long game.
Yeah,
but I want to
game.
add so much value that what do you think is going to happen the next time we do an NFT? It'll sell out in a minute and we'll make tens of millions of dollars. And what will happen the next one? And so my suggestion to you is to break into that space and add so much value and give such a rich project to people and rich experience that the word on really good things like that spreads fast. Would you agree? Holy shit, I got this, the reflections, $5 million in reflections. Like people talk about that like crazy. So what's gonna happen the next time they launch, next time they drop, there's 5 times the amount of people behind there and you see how it snowballs. So my suggestion would be come out away from the mass amounts of money out of the game to how do I build a name for myself that everybody knows if I touch this space, it's worthy of it. It's gonna be dope.
And to make sure I understand the reflections correctly, since I am a tattoo artist, if I made, say, like getting a tattoo from me, if you own an NFT, would that be a good reflection to have?
That's a utility.
Yeah. That's
So
utility.
the reflections is something specifically we made up. Legitimately, I wasn't joking about that. And how we would apply that term to the communities we build. A utility is what you're talking about. So 2 things. One, in about 3 months, we're launching, clearly I like tattoos. We're launching the world's largest NFT marketplace for tattoos around my tattoo artist who's pretty well known out of LA. So send me a DM on Instagram and I'd love to connect you to the team specific on that.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
But then, real quick, just to give you a couple of food for thought of how you could do your own NFT. Like, if your books are booked out for 6 months, right? So clearly you have an audience that means there's a demand, right? So if I were advising you, there's, like, you don't need an agency like us to do that, but there's great open source platforms where you can take your artwork, upload them, it'll turn them into an NFT, and then you could sell them. I would do exactly what you're saying. I would create custom art. I would do very limited runs, so the opposite of what you were, like massive amounts. I would say this tattoo I'm only ever gonna do 5 times. And here's the price, which includes the session. You have to get yourself here. So if there's somebody outside of Utah buying it, they have to fly in. But I would continually do that. I would pick 1 day a month where I release my new artwork so that it creates a consistent pattern that people know, oh shit, it's the 25th, she's gonna release her next piece. I would use your social media to release it on, so you're releasing it on Instagram, and every 25th of the month, you're releasing 1 piece, and there's 10 to buy or 5 to buy, and then you'll book them into your schedule over the next year. Now you get 2 things. 1, you get the value of selling the NFT. You can add additional utility to that creates a resale value where maybe you're only gonna do 5 of those a year, but the person who got it can resell it to somebody else. And now when they resell it, you get paid a royalty. That's nice because you didn't do anything. So there's a lot of ways, but I would agree with Sean. Think the opposite of what you're thinking. Instead of doing something massive, do something exclusive. Because at the end of the day, there's a reason that if you asked everyone in this room, they would rather go shop at Rodeo Drive for clothing than they would at Walmart, right? It's exclusivity. And so make yourself exclusive and make your art exclusive. It'll create a demand where people want it.
Thank you guys so much.
He just gave you a huge business model. You know that, right? Like ridiculous. I would go sit down and write that shit down and then send him a DM.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Huge. And his Instagram is what?
It's Travis Bott.
Travis Bott.
Yeah, similar vibe, tattoo artist. But I wanted to know more so, like I've seen videos on like the metaverse where people are gonna be hanging out, everything like that. And I've seen like people doing digital art in the metaverse. Do you think something like that will happen with like tattoo artists? Like will people be able to get tattoos in the metaverse, and how do I prepare myself to go into that space.
Did somebody tell these guys about our project? Do you want me to give all the secrets or what?
I knew you'd talk about it.
So, yes. I think it'll be...
I can actually see the wheels turning what he's going to say.
There's gyms in the metaverse. You know that, right? Do you know that there's people that pay a monthly gym membership right now to be a member of a gym in the metaverse? Did you know this? So I swear to God, am I making this up?
No.
The same way you have a membership to Gold's Gym, here, physically, in the flesh, your digital you has a gym membership in the metaverse. And you're paying money for that membership. Real money. No, don't, we're not gonna go down that rabbit hole right now.
The benefit is when you work out in real life, it gives value to your avatar in the metaverse and they pay you for it. And
so will people in the metaverse get tattoos?
yes.
Sure as shit will. So get in the freaking metaverse, connect with the right people, and become the OG. I was doing this before anybody else is doing it.
And how do you...
It sounds insane, doesn't it? It's happening.
Here, I'm gonna give you
real.
one thing so you can, like, this is what I say, anything's possible, right? So right now we're working on like a mouse pad, right? That you would put your mouse on at school. We're working on a mouse pad that has the same density as human skin. We're working on a gun that will feel exactly like a tattoo gun. You'll be able to hold it. You'll have your Oculus on. You'll be able to tattoo. It'll tattoo in the metaverse. It'll measure the density. It'll measure the pressure so that it can really teach people. And we're building a education platform where people can learn how to become a tattoo artist in the metaverse from some of the best tattoo artists in the world. But so when I say, like, expand your mind, like, shit's possible. You can do anything in the metaverse. So I know you're thinking about, like, will somebody's avatar have a cool tattoo? Absolutely. Yeah. Right?
And
There'll
you can
be
put it
Gucci
there.
ones, Louis Vuitton ones, whatever. There'll be famous tattoo artists that have them. And the same way we're assholes and I like to wear nice shoes here, like, we'll be those same assholes in the metaverse. So you'll want to have the coolest tattoo on your arm. That will apply. But I'm saying go beyond that, right? Like, think about somebody being able to educate people all around the world that want to become tattoo artists. And now you don't have your friend being like, yo, I'm trying to become a tattoo artist. Can I practice on your arm? Like, now they can learn virtually. They can practice their shading. They can practice the depth. They can practice all of that on something that feels like skin. And it'll give them an augmented experience so that it actually feels real.
And you're talking about Ganga tattoo, right?
I can neither confirm or deny that.
So what's the best way to actually, like, do you create an avatar to get into the metaverse, or how do you go about?
I mean, you can Google that. There's so, like, Ready Player One is a great one to create avatars. There's tons of places that you
can buy land and make your own tattoo studio in the metaverse.
Study up. Study up.
Guys, like the way what you just did, it's wild. It's wild. It truly, truly, truly is like what Travis talks about, like walking upside. Like, if your mind can conceive it, it's happening. And it might be wild, crazy, some drunken stupor night where you're like, this is fucking crazy, we should do this. There's probably somebody already doing it. I'm not kidding. Like, so I will tell you I'm 43 years old. I'm not a baby boomer. I'm not a Gen Xer. Oh, I'm a Gen Xer, right? Millennial, whatever. Like, I'm fascinated. I go down the rabbit hole. I strongly encourage you guys, go down the rabbit hole. Use the internet. Like, figure out what people are doing. It will boggle your mind. I didn't believe this. Dan and I sat in a hotel room in Vegas for 2 hours, I don't know, a couple months ago. And we started talking about real estate in the metaverse. And I'm like, what about, like, this is the funniest conversation. I'm like, who owns the White House? And he's like, well, I don't know. I was like, well, I want to own the White House in the metaverse. And his response was, well, which metaverse? And I was like, there's more than one? And he's like, dude, there's infinite metaverses. And I was like, the fuck do you mean there's infinite metaverses? So then we went down that rabbit hole, and I was like, well, how do you own the White House and this one, but this one? Well, which one's the best one? Which one's the biggest one? It's mind-bending. It's fucking mind-bending, and it's also dope. It's freaking fascinating, guys. We live in a time where anything is possible. Anything is possible. You don't have to be smart. I'm fucking dumb. I dropped out of high school. I know how to turn my computer on and off. I know nothing about coding. Like nothing. Yet we have like one of the coolest NFT sites on planet Earth with really incredible rad art. I don't know how they did the art. I sat with Greg and we were like, let's do guns and tattoos and things and this and this and this and this. And all of a sudden, like, these guys just went and nerded the thing out and here it is. I don't know how they did it. I don't want to know how they did it. I don't need to know. I'm sharing this with you because it's mind-bending what's happening. And so many of us are focused on like, what fucking shit is coming off of Fox and CNN? Who's mad about who? Who should I be pissed at today? Fuck all that, man. Get away from that noise. Go in like to the future. Predict the future. Create your future. Yes? All right, I can go off anyways. That answer your question?
Yeah. Dope.
Right.
Thank you.
So
Okay, these last three.
What I'm wondering is, with NFTs or the metaverse, is it a good idea to start early, like when you're first starting your business, and like putting part of your business on the metaverse, or making NFTs like when you're just starting?
I mean, the cost is so low. Your risk basis is tiny. You could buy some land in Axie Infinity, Decentraland, any of the main metaverses for hundreds of dollars, a couple $1,000s at worst. You don't have to buy a six-figure land. You can buy things that are a couple $100. But by doing that, you can put out press releases about it. You get to be in all these NFT communities and crypto communities that become customers of yours just because they're like, yeah, you're part of the tribe. Like, you're in for a couple $100. And so doing it early and being in it early, like, you're really early by now. The metaverse is brand spanking new. It's been around for years and years and years, but again, just like nobody could spell NFT last year, same concept. Metaverse is just starting. So
No one was on it until very recently.
correct. And by the way, metaverse is, no one, raise your hands. Who actually owns an Oculus? Okay. Now I want you to be really honest. Have you ever worn it more than 3 times this year? Exactly. We're not anywhere near metaverse being like the thing yet. We're not comfortable just wearing glasses for hours and hours a day. So all the things that you hear about the metaverse, we are nowhere near living inside the metaverse. Because human nature, it's way cooler out here, right? In real life, with air and oxygen and lights and people and humans, like, that's cooler. We're nowhere near people having glasses on for 16 hours a day in a chair. So I say that you are brand spanking new early. So getting in there, spending a few $100, putting your flag in the ground, and one of the main metaverses like Axie Infinity or Decentraland, I invested a lot into one called Big Time. Because Big Time had a ton of funding, great developers, the co-founder of Decentraland built it. You can buy land in Big Time for a few $100. But if you buy it now, what's it going to be like in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years if you own that land?
I have one more question. What is are there different kinds of metaverses for different kinds of businesses? Like with me, I do education, specifically dinosaur education, but that's just too specific. Just education in general. Is there a metaverse specifically for that kind of stuff, or gaming?
So first of all, dinosaur education is awesome. I love dinosaurs. I would double down on the niche part of it. Don't just say education, say dinosaur education, because that's awesome. And really go in. You don't have to go to anything but one of the top 4. Axie Infinity, Decentraland, Big Time. Go to one of the main 4, and you can buy it in all of them if you want to, by the way, for a few $100 here, a few $100 there. Just have land. You can build a small office or small studio. You can have a dinosaur on your land as your logo. Like, you can set up shop for a few grand.
Got that.
Bodie, how old are
Thank
you now?
I just turned 14 day before yesterday.
Okay.
Thank you.
I've known your mom and dad for a number of years and like watched you like geek out on the whole thing. Be the dinosaur guy.
Yes.
Don't like brush
Thank
that
you.
shit off, man. Don't be
all
like,
in
well,
on
it's just
dinosaurs.
dinosaur, but I focus on it. Fucking go. Hey, listen. Go
I'll
down.
tell you guys
hang
later
on.
at the networking.
Yeah, go all in on dinosaurs.
Go down the rabbit hole on being the dinosaur guy.
Yeah.
Bob Ross went down the rabbit hole of I'm just gonna sit here and draw cute little clouds and mountains. And what's his originals worth right now?
Look, there's
Millions.
He wrote happy trees and fucking little mountains and birds. And I, as a kid, was riveted for 30 minutes while he took a blank canvas and turned it into some crazy shit.
Like literally a few months ago,
Be the dinosaur guy. Jason, make him understand that he's the dinosaur guy. That's it.
He started me on it when I was 3, so.
I know. I've watched your journey the last 5, 6 years, friend. I know. Go be the dinosaur dude.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
First thing I just figured out is if you're fifth in line, a lot of your questions will be answered before I get here. But 2 questions I want to ask. I have a business that I'm launching, thanks to you, Sean, and I'm also an artist. And I was wondering, could an NFT be something like an art gallery where people can come in and buy part of one of those paintings in the gallery? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Anything's possible.
All right, and the second thing is, the one thing that I liked about Dan was his altruism part of his business plan. Is it possible to do an NFT that what would help people, you know, for the lack of a better term, assuage their guilt through altruism and things like that? Are there ways for people to buy into something and a piece of that goes to help a cause or something like that?
It's all automated. You can make it all automated. Like Meta Bounty Hunters donate six figures to charity, and they're going to end up donating millions to charity. So it's automated. Like it's built into their system where they're going to actually, he can explain it better, but the people that own NFTs can decide which charities, and then he's going to go pass out 6 figures each.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm going to throw in there that Lions Not Sheep has a do good fund that we patterned off of Meta Bounty Hunters so that there is something that is given back and the community gets to vote on what those are. Just like our first mint, the first 1% or 1% of the mint goes back towards helping military veteran programs. So there's a lot that's happening.
What I love about that is that the community gets to vote on it. You know what I'm saying? It's not just me going, all right, cool, I got your money, I'm gonna go give it over here, give it over here. The whole community gets to decide like where we put the money, which is really cool. Okay, last one.
So I've got a fractional equity percentage in a data privacy company that uses blockchain. I've got security tokens, utility tokens, and I know that that's separate from NFT. Most of what I've seen for NFT from an investing standpoint has been pump and dump. So like after the first primary wave of investors, you know, they get their money and they're out. And what I'm hearing is that the secondary wave is really being propped up by the belief and the love of the brands in particular and the people that are behind these NFTs that they're offering and that they're purchasing. Could you tell me a little bit more about the long-term strategy for where you see those sort of NFTs going?
So the hard part, the reason that you see most NFTs be a pump and dump, they might not even be a pump and dump on purpose. So let's say famous rapper, famous artist, famous influencer makes an NFT. The problem is when it sells out and they make their $2.2 million that day, if there's no utility, there's not much for them to post about or talk about because you can't go buy anymore, so they don't really care that much. And then they might do the second one, third one, fourth one, and they don't really care about the first one because they sold out. So they may not necessarily be a pump and dump, they just sold out and they just don't care that much anymore because they did their job, good for them, and they don't really care. And so you're left holding the bag, right? People that bought it are left holding the bag. The reason I keep harping about guys like Gary Vee and Sean Whalen is they have personal brands, egos, and millions of followers. They're not gonna mess up. I'm not saying ego in a bad way, ego's a good thing. The fact that Gary, Sean, et cetera, have an ego and want to win and want you guys to win is really important. And so why I would go invest into those type of characters and those type of NFTs versus just a famous person is that the famous person is doing it for money and they have personal attachments to it of winning. And so when he said, when their Meta Bounty Hunters launched, it was at $1,700. That's the average price point, 0.65 ETH at the time. Now it's over $3,000. He cares about that stat deeply because he wants the people that make money. Deeply. It doesn't change anything for him personally. It's just an ego thing. People want to win that want you to win. And so finding people that you believe in, whether it's a brand or a person, that once they sell out, there's either utility or some reason for them to stick with it year after year. And so why they have their utilities, obviously, for Lions Den is he's going to be doing this for years and years and years. And we know Gary Vee, and I just use him as the example because it's a similar category. He's going to be doing this for years and years and years and years. And so you can bet on the fact that that person with a big ego and a big brand and millions and millions of followers are going to keep doing this for years and years, comparatively to influencer, rapper, et cetera, that sells out really quickly and then it fades away.
Would you say that's novel for the space right now?
It's what happens most of the time, yes.
Thank you.
This is the reason utility was so important for me, just FYI. I think, and we talked about this, how long did we sit on the whiteboard when we just wrote up a ridiculous amount of utilities? Like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. Like, as literally like a partnership to the NFT. I came up with literally dozens and dozens and dozens of things, all the way down to like a 1-hour Zoom call every quarter with me, right? As a utility on the NFT. I believe that what we're doing is kind of raising the bar of what the NFT space is. And so as you look at NFTs moving forward, or any project like that, and you're like, okay, well, I'm either gonna get this cool little digital art and that's all I'm gonna get, or I'm gonna get this digital art plus a ticket to the Freeman World Convention, to this, to this, to this, to this, you're gonna realize I'm getting all of these things with it. It's a dramatic difference. I think the big NFTs in the future, the really successful ones, will have radical NFT, radical group and tribe participation, and that's why, for me, it was imperative. That was the only way that I would do the deal.
I want to add one thing to what you said to her. She left the room, but I think it's important. Most NFT projects are not pump and dumps. It's most of the ones we see on social media. Why? Because they paid a rapper or a influencer to post about them, right? Did we pay any rappers? I mean, I can rap, but no.
By all means. By all means. You said it, bro. Get up.
No, I can't rap. Nor can I sing, nor am I an artist. Like the creative line in heaven, I got none of that shit. Artistic, I should say. But you see those, right? Has anyone ever bought a t-shirt off of Facebook and it had like the best advertising, and then it shows up to you and it's in a bag from China and it smells terrible, and then you put it on and it's like halfway, but it looked good, right? Why? Because it was overly promoted. So I want to clarify that, because you're not going to see our project be posted by just some random influencer just to try to sell it out, because that's not how we believe in building community. So the ones that you see the most hype around are the ones you should do the most due diligence on, because typically that hype's being paid by paid advertising. The ones that you don't see and they come from somebody like Sean, are the ones that you can count on having the long-term value. Now I gotta stop because I gotta pee real bad.
Awesome.
All this water.
The only thing I'm gonna add to that is, as the utilities and as more NFTs see that this is the wave of the future, that they have to add more value, the second layer I would put on is something Dan has been saying all night, which is you're gonna have a bunch of companies come out that are anonymous, without a brand, without a face, without anything tied to it. And they'll say, look, we have all of the best utilities, but there might not be any follow through because we don't even know who they are on the other side. So it's pretty important to know them, feel them, love the community, love what the utilities are. And that is more of the wave that will be really successful in the future.
Yeah. Guys, was this valuable? Yeah. All right, give it up. Give it up.